Aloha and welcome back. Still with the voice, but we have the Michael Still podcast here. He has Tim Miller and Roland Martin on it, and I forget Karen's last name, but I'm sure they're going to say it again. I started watching this a little bit ago, and I stopped it. It's an hour and 19 minutes, so I probably won't go over the whole thing, but I want to talk about a couple of things they were talking about here in the beginning. So I'll let them go, and then I will interject.
I just want to get just out of the gate as you kind of did the rewind, because I know you each did in the various platforms that you have. Take that look back at 2024. So let's just kick that shit to the curb. We don't need to do that, because that's a headache that we just don't need to reinvite. But
they were all very wrong in 2024. They were all Democrat shills. They all pushed Biden and then Kamala. So yes, that's why they don't want to look back at 2024, because they were all very, very wrong.
Then I'm sitting here and I watched this press conference today with the incoming president, and I was like, well, maybe the headache is the thing. I don't know. How are you guys assessing 2025? Not even a weekend so far. Karen, what's your audience saying to you?
No, I'm very clear about not leaning into the nonsense. There's nothing we can do about it. The man's gonna be president. I'm not gonna be on high alert and anxious. I'm not gonna be taking the gummies. I'm not going to, lean into the frenzy. Instead, what I have instructed
she's gonna keep a level head
audience, because it's not what they're saying to me, it's what I'm saying to them. It's
our
job to provide them with a clear vision forward.
Well, I'm worried about what you guys say, so like, share, and subscribe. And by worried about what you guys say, comment. I'll comment back.
Is that we have to create the world we want to live in. If everyone's listening to me, you live somewhere. How do you make where you live better? How are you impacting the politics of where you live?
Yeah.
Because worrying about whether we're going to have Canada and Panama Canal is going to be I cannot. I don't know what's happening. I don't know whether the oceans are going away. I don't know. There's nothing I can control but where I am right now. So that's my message.
I don't think that's
control where you are right now and do something.
I like that message. Control where you are right now. That's why I keep telling everybody, join the Green Party. We've seen people try to infiltrate the Democratic Party, and it does not work. They won't let it happen. They're a top-down party, and the elites keep power. We just did a video about Marianne Williamson talking about this a day or two ago. She's trying to run for the DNC chair, but she knows she's not going to get it. So yes, control where you are.
Tim, what are you doing, man?
I think that's a good message for the audience. I think that's a good message for regular folks, because I get that. People come to me like, what can I do? What should we do? And I'm like, honestly, we're not to ride the wave for a little while. And finding ways that you can get involved in your community is a good help. Like look local, look ways you can make a difference. I'll say this about the national, though.
Look local.
The best way for the Democrats to get right.
I wouldn't say just look local, though. Run for everything. Like, get a big coalition of people to join the Green Party, or if you want to try to take over the Dems, I don't suggest that, or the DSA, whatever. No, either DSA or Green. Get a big coalition of people, run for boards, run for local stuff, and run for national stuff. Fill up that full ballot.
Or for the anti-Trump folks, however you broadly you want to define them, to get right, is for this man to fail. And I think that sometimes you hate to look to Mitch McConnell for guidance on anything. I was about to say, sounds like Mitch McConnell. But when Barack Obama got in, what he said in that private meeting at the Willard or wherever it was before Obama even inaugurated.
It's crazy. When Barack Obama got in, it just broke politics. They did not know how to handle him. And like he's about to say, Mitch McConnell said, just make him fail, whatever he does. No, we're just going to vote against him. And I think he even said that publicly. But they could not handle that, and then Trump's the reverb, and then it's pretty wild these days. It should have been Bernie, but the Democrats.
He's like, guys, our job is to make this man a failed president, and that's it. Like the best, like the Democrats, like the best way back for the Democrats is for this guy to fail. And whether that failure looks like a shit show, like a crazy shit show where he doesn't actually help anybody that he promised, or whether he actually hurts people, I'm pretty open
So he's
to the
okay,
idea that it could
open
be
with
either or both at
people
various
being hurt?
times. Making sure people are aware of that, know about that, people that aren't as engaged, I do think is going to be an important project of those of us who are in the commentary space.
Before I go to you, Roland, Karen is kind of chomping at the bits there a little bit.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, we live on this ball together. So, and I'm not wishing for him to be successful, but what does failure look like? World War III? Like, and what does
Well, he
harm
said
look like?
people getting hurt, right? People being harmed.
I
That's
can't in
not.
good conscience, wish for that. I
Nah,
just,
it's not good.
I don't know how responsible.
I hear that, but your wishes aren't, unfortunately, our wishes don't matter. I wish our wishes mattered. If our wishes mattered, we wouldn't be here. If our wishes mattered, we'd have a different outcome. So I'm more talking about just, look, people need to be educated about the ways that he let them down, or the way, and I think that there's a nihilism that sets in, like, oh man, he won, nothing matters, nothing, and that's just not true. Like we saw in 2020, it was in people's face. His failures around COVID were part of the reason why he lost. I think his failures weren't in people's face in 2024 in the way that we like them. They were in the face of very highly engaged consumers, but his failures and his.
Well, Kamala had a lot more failures, and just Trump has that hype, man. People love Trump. You gotta get somebody that people at least want to hear or talk about, that give a little like excitement, energy to the room, right? Kamala, she drained the energy from the room. No one that I know, very few people that like Kamala Harris. I do know a couple, but not very many high information people like Kamala Harris.
Chicanery have to be publicized. I mean, I'm like, that's just the work. It just is.
Roland, how are you looking at this?
I think first and foremost, what people just witnessed, I believe, is a fundamental difference between who I call Democrats, progressives, liberals. Because you can't just say just
progressives and liberals. So yes, there's three. Those are three different things, and most progressives are not Democrats and would not vote for Democrats.
Democrats. That's a very broad category. You talk about the right, it's right or far right. I mean,
so when you're talking about the right, liberals are on the right. You're skewing he's skewing the Overton window, which makes it hard for people to communicate, and that's what's wrong with our politics in the U.S. is these people here, even though he thinks he's smart and that he's doing something for the left and that Democrats are left wing and Democrats are not left wing. We do not have a left wing party. Well, the Green Party is a left wing party, but our two major parties, neither are left wing. I showed a video of AOC saying that. You got Barack Obama saying if it was the 90s or early 2000s or something, that he'd be like a moderate Republican. They're on the right. Liberals are right of center. It's like, so he's, and that hurts us when we talk about stuff, when we try to talk about issues and things. Liberals are rarely on our side when it comes to the fiscal part of issues. Socially liberal and fiscally conservative, you can't do that. That's not real, because if you're not willing to put money into something, then it's not going to happen. Oh, the PBD people were talking about like education, and we need education, but then those people, oh no, it was Michael Smith. And he was talking about how he wanted people to have better education and this and that. And then he's a big libertarian. He doesn't want to pay taxes. How do you get an education if you're not going to pay taxes? You don't have good schools. But anyway, I'm jumping around. My bad. Let's get back to these guys.
That's just it. Okay? So if you look at the last 4 years and the 8 years of Obama, you get Republicans who every day in the Republican ecosystem, every day wished harm on America. Awful stuff. Bad. Terrible. One of the reasons Biden's approval numbers were so low. Why do people feel the way they feel about the economy? Because also, it was the constant drumbeat. It was recession. They called for recession every day for almost 4 years.
Well, the economy's not good for most people. Just the stock market is up. And if you have a good paying job, like the 10%, 15% doing great, most of the people, no.
It never actually came. And so Democrats, progressives, liberals are playing.
So he's messing up the words. Liberals are not and progressives are not Democrats. Democrats and liberals are are just the same, but most Democrats are right of center. Progressives, by definition, are left of center. You're going to be more anti-capitalist. You're going to be more revolutionary. Democrats and liberals are capitalists. They are right of center.
A game that no longer exists. They are still operating as if this is the 1960s or 1970s. That's gone. It's gone. And so the question is, do you get ruthless? When Biden came in, Biden, what did he say? Oh, the old Republican Party is going to come back.
Do you get ruthless, like cheating Bernie Sanders out of the primary, and then Barack Obama coming in during the second primary when he won the first two primary states, or I even think first three, and Barack Obama comes in and has everybody drop out except for Elizabeth Taylor? That was pretty ruthless. The Democrats are not having a primary this time around, and then being ruthless with Joe Biden and making him drop out and having what they like to call a coup. I don't really care what you call it. And then anointing Kamala Harris and not having anybody else have any opportunity. That's fairly ruthless in my opinion.
Hillary Clinton said the exact same thing.
Oh, and then he said Hillary Clinton, speaking of ruthless, the mother of all ruthlessness. Let me back it up for a little bit. Let him speak.
How are you looking at this?
I think first and foremost, what people just witnessed, I believe, is a fundamental difference between who I call Democrats, progressives, liberals, because you can't just say just Democrats.
So he's breaking language.
You talk about the right, it's right or far right. I mean, that's just it.
Liberals are on the right.
So
Democrats are mostly on the right.
You look at the last 4 years, and the 8 years of Obama, you get Republicans who every day in the Republican ecosystem, every day wished harm on America. Awful, stuck, bad, terrible. One of the reasons Biden's approval numbers were so low. Why do people feel the way they felt about the economy? Because also, it was the constant drumbeat. It was recession. They called for recession every day for almost 4 years. It never actually came. And so Democrats, progressives, liberals are playing a game that no longer exists. They are still operating as if this is the 1960s or 1970s. That's gone. It's gone. And so the question is, do you get ruthless?
The 1960s or 1970s, when there was the civil rights movement, when there was they were really racist back then. They were really ruthless back then. They're full of hyperbole. It's like I got some clips for the end of this.
When Biden came in, what did he say? Oh, the old Republican Party is going to come back. Hillary Clinton said the exact same thing in 2016. What happened?
Hold on here. I'm going to clip it in now. So speaking of 60s and 70s, this is going to be from the 70s, maybe early 80s, but this guy was around in the 60s and 70s. This is Lee Atwater explaining how they do things back then.
Here's how I would approach that issue as a statistician or a political scientist, or no, as a psychologist, which I'm not, is how abstract you handle the race thing. In other words, you start out, and now y'all aren't quoting me on this. You start out in 1954 by saying nigger, nigger, nigger.
Ooh.
By 1968, you can't say nigger.
68. So by 1968, you can't say that no more. But up until then, it was kind of acceptable.
You say stuff like force busing, states' rights, and all that stuff, and you're getting so abstract now. You're talking about cutting taxes and all of these things you're talking about are totally economic
tactics. All these
and
tactics.
The byproduct of them is blacks get hurt worse than whites, and subconsciously maybe that is part of it. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if it is getting that abstract and that coded, that we're doing away with the racial problem one way or the other. You follow me? Because obviously sitting around saying we want to cut taxes, we want to cut this, and we want is much more abstract than even the busing thing.
And especially
and a hell of a lot more abstract than Never Never.
Oh, that's what I'm
So
talking about.
any way you look at it, race is coming on the back burner.
Let's get back to the old Republican Party. And just a reminder for Roland Martin over there, a little bit of truth about the parties of the United States.
And what you said earlier, too, I wanted to go back
Who is this
to what you
lady?
said about our left party. We don't have a left party
Oh.
in the United States. The Democratic Party is not a left party.
Oh, man. Listen to that, clapations.
The Democratic Party is a center or center conservative party. We do not
Center conservative. Conservative would be right. Center right party.
advocate for, we can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all.
We can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all, y'all.
Not even a floor.
But just to say, we ain't got no left party. That's Roland Martin over there talking about trying to conflate Democrats with progressives. It's not the same. And I guess to Roland's defense, he might not think of progressives as leftists because he's not really using that term, I would say. But to me, a progressive is a leftist, which is not a Democrat nor a liberal.
Their ass is handed to them. They did not understand the world that we're living in. So how but his failures and his chicanery have to be publicized. I mean,
Put on blast.
The work
just
is.
Roland, how are you looking at this?
I think first and foremost, what people just witnessed, I believe, is a fundamental difference between who I call Democrats, progressives, liberals. Because you can't just say just Democrats. That's a very broad category. You talk about the right, it's right or far right. I mean, that's just it.
Liberals.
So if you look at the last 4 years and the 8 years of Obama, you get Republicans who every day in the Republican ecosystem, every day wished harm on America. Awful, stuck, bad, terrible. One of the reasons Biden's approval numbers were so low. Why do people feel the way they felt about the economy? Because also, it was the constant drumbeat. It was recession. They called for recession every day for almost 4 years. It never actually came. And so Democrats, progressives, liberals are playing a game that no longer exists. They are still operating as if this is the 1960s or 1970s.
1960s, we just went over that.
It's gone. And so the question is, do you get ruthless? When Biden came in, Biden, what did he say? Oh, the old Republican Party is going to come back. Hillary Clinton said the exact same thing in 2016. What happened? Their ass is handed to them. They did not understand the world that we're living in. So how I've been operating, did I see the news conference? Hell no. I'm not wasting any energy on a crazy ass. First of all, the inauguration is January 20th. First, I didn't do it for 4 years. You will never hear me say words like President and Trump together.
Oh, man.
Because I will never give somebody the respect of the office of president who has none.
I bet Trump will be able to sleep now.
The convicted criminal in chief. He will be called the thug in chief.
I like Karen's ideas better.
That's how I'm going to deal with it. To Tim's point, I'm absolutely going to highlight his massive failures. Remember, Republicans and conservatives, they cried every month the jobs report came out. Shit, more jobs. Damn, more jobs. I mean, every month. So we have to understand, one of the reasons we are here is because the right attacked every single day. Anything that they did. Democrats believe in norms, believe in values. We shouldn't do that. The best of us. So we just have to understand, you got two sides that are playing two.
Yeah, we got two sides of that. The reason why we're here is, like I said earlier, Barack Obama getting everybody to drop out and support Joe Biden, and Elizabeth Warren staying in. The reason why we're here is because Hillary Clinton cheated Bernie Sanders. There's a lot of reasons why we're here. And then to say that the Democrats respect the norms and policies and whatnot, they do. They respect the establishment norm. They respect what they want, and they're elite. They don't respect the people. They showed that.
Two totally different games. And the other side, you see what Meta, Facebook is now doing. You see the capitulation of even the billionaires. What Republicans are doing right now is not about the next 4 years. It's about 2028. It's about who controls the White House when the census comes up in 2030. That's what we're dealing with. And so Democrats, progressives, and liberals, y'all better realize this is a long game being played.
It's been a very long game for a long time. I know it's something I said.
Well, the Democrats realize it. They like what's happening. They want Donald Trump over a Bernie Sanders type of person. They are liberal. They want this. They would prefer Donald Trump over, say, a Green Party president. So the Democrats are playing the long game. They're just not playing the long game you're saying that people should be thinking about.
That for a number of years, going back to when I was state chairman, that it was very clear that two different games were being played at the political level, at all levels politically, which is, we're focused
on North Carolina.
We're focused on courts, and the Democrats are talking about the environment. And then when
a Trump-appointed federal judge just sent the election of the North Carolina Supreme Court justice to the Republican-controlled North Carolina Supreme Court. They've now issued a stay. Allison Riggs won, but they don't want a 5-2 majority. They want a 6-1 majority, and they want to beat the sister Anita Earls next year to have a 7-0 majority.
But see, the Democrats do that on purpose. They don't put people up and they don't push people because they're supposed to be the left or progressive party, right? And they're supposed to put up judges that'll say and do certain things. So they put up judges at a lesser rate, at a slower rate, so that when Republicans are in, there's a lot of empty seats, and Republicans can go ahead and push the conservative judges that Democrats would prefer to have in there anyway. The Democrats just can't put the judges they really, really want in.
This isn't politics. I mean, this isn't partisan politics. What we're talking about today is not Democrats and Republicans, right? This is not about Democrats or liberals or, even if
it's not happening.
It's not.
That's all they've been talking about.
Trump was never a Republican. He was a Democrat. His children were Democrats in New York. They didn't even change their party.
Again, Democrats and Republicans are very similar. There's very little difference in Democrats and Republicans, and that's what she's explaining right now.
Because he wasn't running for president. And he wasn't running for president this time. He was running to stay out of jail. And that was effective. We're dealing with humanity at this point. And I don't know, how we keep framing it around party.
We're dealing with humanity at this point. I just can't even with these people.
My mother, your parents, it doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The truth is, every major crime bill since 1976 that's come out of this Congress, every minor crime bill has had the name of the Democratic senator from the state of Delaware, Joe Biden. Every minor crime bill has had the name of the Democratic senator from the state of Delaware, Joe Biden, on that bill, and has had a majority vote of the Democratic members of the United States Senate on the bill.
The power I have as a prosecutor is that with a swipe of my pen, I can charge someone with a misdemeanor, the lowest level offense possible.
Ooh.
And by virtue of that swipe of my pen, you will have to go to a courthouse and stand in line. You will have to come out of pocket and hire an attorney. You may get arrested for a few hours. You will be embarrassed in your community. You will miss time from coming onto the Google campus. All because with the swipe of my pen, I've charged you with a crime, which I may choose to dismiss 2 weeks later. It's an incredible amount of power.
With
great power I have as a prosecutor
comes great responsibility.
Is that with a swipe of my pen, I can charge some.
Well, you see that? So I'm gonna tell you what. While Roland Martin lies to you and calls these Democrats progressives and stuff, that was Joe Biden in the 80s, in the 90s. My bad. Joe Biden in the 90s, and that was Kamala Harris probably about 10, 15 years ago. And then here's Joe Biden, I think, in 2020, maybe even not that low. But if you listen, they
The
will tell
younger
you who they are.
generation now tells me how tough things are. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy for it. Give me a break.
He has no empathy.
Because here's the deal, guys. We decided we were going to change the world, and we did.
He said he has no empathy for younger people right now. They don't care about us. They didn't care about us in the 90s. They didn't care about it. I mean, they were forced to care about us a bit in the 60s and 70s because we just stood up and made it happen. But if we don't make it happen, they're not going to do anything. And you can see by the two leaders of the party, you saw how they care about you. So as you see, Roland Martin is telling us there's a huge difference in Democrats and Republicans. There is not.
Parties, but that's why Democrats, quote unquote, Democrats
I guess
lose.
it's carrying this time.
And for everybody, it's like, oh, you're shilling for the Democrats. I was shilling for us, for humanity. I wanted
for us, for humanity, about people who say they don't care about us. It doesn't matter how we got to where we were. That dude was in Congress in the 90s, 95, whatever, wrote that crime bill, talking about he doesn't care about how anyone got there. If you don't care how they got there, then how are you going to fix the problem? And then, what is it, almost 30 years later, 25, 30 years later, he's going to talk about he has no empathy for the young people after he put all their parents, after he put as many of their parents in jail as he possibly could. This is so, I don't understand. It's a little bit, I don't know if it's disingenuous or just very, very uninformed.
people to live and have rights and to thrive. You know, that's what I...
Okay, again, by the stroke of her pen. This is the lady she was trying to get you to vote for, talking about people's rights. What rights? This lady smoked weed and then put people in jail for weed and then kept them in jail so that she could have some slave labor. And then put parents in jail for truancy and laughs about it. Let me let you speak. Let me let you go.
Sister Anita Earls next year to have a 7-0 majority.
This isn't politics. I mean, this isn't partisan politics. What we're talking about today is not Democrats and Republicans.
Because there is no difference. This is not partisan politics because we don't really have two parties.
Nope.
Right? This is not about Democrats or liberals or,
Right.
you know, even
That's
if
right,
like,
this is not happening.
it's not. Trump was never a Republican. He was a
Right.
Democrat. His children were Democrats in New York. They didn't even change their party because he wasn't running for president. And he wasn't running for president this time. He was running to stay out of jail. And that was effective. We're dealing with humanity at this point. And I don't know, you know, how we keep framing it around parties, but that's why Democrats, quote unquote, Democrats lose. And for everybody, it's like, oh, you're shilling for the Democrats. I was shilling for us, for humanity. I wanted people to live and have rights and
so you
to
saw the
thrive.
clips.
You know, that's what I was voting for. I wasn't voting for Kamala Harris or a party. And I think if we can move away from parties and start really talking to people about what they need and start really resonating with them around the issues that matter. But Roland, you're right.
So if you move away from parties and you just talk about what the people need, great. But then you have a whole bunch of separate people that are going to either build a people's party, join the Green Party or DSA. The Green Party is a people's party. It doesn't matter what the name of any party is. What are the issues that, like, I'm an issue-based person. Is the Democratic Party's issues, are the Democratic Party's issues good for the people or bad for the people? Do the Democrats even care about the people? Do the Democrats even act like or say that they care about the people? I mean, I've showed you that they don't. Like, they say it out loud right to you if you look at the right places, right? I have no empathy for young people. Joe Biden said that. Kamala Harris will put you in jail with the stroke of her pen and then get you out with the stroke of her pen because she knows it's small, petty, and she's just doing it to stroke her ego, prove her power, make you do what she wants you to do. That's not caring about the people or their issues. And these are the two people that were at the top of the ticket lately. And then the one person who filled stadiums, who was for the people and the people backed and loved, they cheated and kicked out and pushed aside. So, yeah, no, all that for the Democratic Party. Poo on you.
I mean, this is a war that people aren't prepared for because it requires How?
Because it requires knowledge, and these are the people who spread knowledge to the Democratic base, to everyday people. You are gaslighting them into thinking that there's some difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, when obviously there's not much of a difference.
Something that won't happen, which is truth, right? Where do we go to get the truth? We're not going to get it on
Not to
social
you,
media.
not to Roland.
Well, but that's I just did 3 different videos. Question. Look, I'm an investor in fan base. Isaac Hayes III created that. Whether you don't have suppression of your content, and I literally said to my audience, you see what Facebook, Threads, Instagram is doing. You see the right desperately want to buy TikTok. You see what Elon Musk is doing. And I said part of the issue is that you have to have a place where you're able to mobilize, organize, have a truth.
There you go.
That's one of the reasons why I keep telling my folks I need you to be on fan base, which I'm on as well. But 2, this requires a level of ruthlessness. And see, it's hard for people to want to go there. All right. You look at.
So I don't think that's the correct word. It doesn't take a certain level of ruthlessness. It takes a certain level of urgency. There's things that we need done. We need universal health care. We need better water rights, better water around and stored, obviously, right? This California stuff shows that. And they have other wildfires. We have wildfires in Hawaii, not that bad, but what is it? Oregon, Washington. I don't know, but just wherever there's wildfires, better water storage. But anything, food rights, the homelessness stuff. So he wants to be ruthless. How are you going to be ruthless about the homelessness? Like, let's have a sense of urgency. Let's tackle this. Let's do housing first and see if it works. Or at least let's discuss policies that are different, that are progressive, that are left, that are outside of the capitalist purview, right? Because you guys are just looking at the same thing that everybody looks at. And so for my tangent, he said he wants to be ruthless. I want to be urgent.
What will go down? All the amazing things that President Joe Biden did. What will be the most important thing people remember? The massive failure of Merrick Garland. You know why? Because Democrats, liberals, progressives don't want to be ruthless. They don't want to do it.
So, again, they don't even care. They say it. They don't care. How much more ruthless can you be than saying, I'll put you in the jail for some petty shit with the stroke of my pen? And then, in a couple of days, I might just make that shit go away. If you do the right thing, if you tap dance the right way, it doesn't get any more ruthless than what they put at the top of the ticket. Again, I keep going back. Same topics, Bernie Sanders, Barack Obama, that was the most ruthless thing. I thought Bernie won. I really thought it was over. I told my sister, I said, hey man, we're about to get universal health care. The world's about to change. America, the U.S. is about to be a leading country for the world in a progressive and like wonderful, good way. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. No one's ever won the first 2, 3, or however many it was and lost. I was like, he's going to be the representative for the Democratic Party and he's going to beat Trump. Like, he's got this. Like, I was blown away. And then that weekend, that Friday night or whatever it was, and he called Clyburn and called all the people, and it came out, and Clyburn had the North Carolina or South Carolina, one of the Carolinas vote for Joe Biden. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden, Joe Biden just had all the momentum after one state. And it's like, I was blown away. I didn't know that could possibly happen. I thought that we locked it up. I thought we had the momentum. And I thought the people were about to get their say, right? But then it shows that the Democratic Party will come top down and be like, whoa, this little party was okay. This is for the kiddies, right? No, we're not really doing this. This was a distraction. We thought that we thought that Biden was gonna do this, but okay, y'all, go back, turn around, go back to the kiddie table. They wanted nothing to do with this when it got real, right? So They keep talking about the Democratic Party as it's a vessel or as it's a way to make any kind of change. Nah. If you out here, if you really, really want to make change, again, I'm going to keep harping on the Green Party. Go green or go home.
Look at places where they control the state house, the state senate, and the governor's mansion. Are they being ruthless with their power? No. They're nice, congenial. They're not locking down power. They're not being ruthless. Biden should have appointed somebody who, from day one, I'm going after Trump's ass. But see, what he did is one of the same reason Mitch McConnell did not vote to convict.
Day one, I'm going after Trump's ass. Talking about going after political rivals and stuff. That's what's supposed to make America different. We're supposed to be different because we don't do that. I mean, I don't think we should go after political rivals because they're political rivals. I think we should arrest war criminals. And I think our presidents are mostly war criminals and that they should be arrested. But that's not what he's talking about.
Oh, you know what? This is it. This is the bottom. He's going to go away. Oh.
Yeah, but so to all of the points.
Hi, I'm Brad.
To all of the.
Really, it was funny on our show last week, and Simone lost her mind on Hakeem Jeffries' passing of the gavel. And in the first minute of his speech, what did he talk about? He says, "It's now time to bury the political sword and pick up the bipartisan plowshare." And I'm sitting there going, what the hell are you talking about? Do you know who's in the room with you?
Right.
Do you have any idea?
Right.
That majority, the guy standing next to you is going to take that bipartisan plowshare and shove it up your political ass? You recognize that? And in fact, Johnson comes out and unveils last week that, to your point, Karen, about humanity, number one priority for the Speaker of the House is what, people? What is it?
Force a vote.
Banning trans people from sports.
Oh.
That's his number one priority as Speaker of the House.
And the tax cuts and the deportations.
No.
Going big.
Actually, no, it's not tax cuts and deportation. What Michael just said, because what they've done is they understand this culture battle. Because here's the reality. If we really want to be honest about our personal conversations, the trans issue, that pisses off, actually, people who vote Democrat. That's a cultural issue. And that's why last year, I remember talking to the Biden campaign, they were running those radio ads on black radio stations in January, February, and March.
Yep.
They were testing the radio.
That began long before everybody recognized it.
And once they saw it was black male voices, I remember talking to the campaign going, are y'all not sick? Did y'all hear the ads? Oh, you know what? And they literally said, we don't think it's going to move the needle. I'm like, you're crazy. So what they're doing is they're taking the culture buttons. Howard Dean said in 2004, God gave guns. And so that's why you have union workers who got everything under Biden and Harris still say, I'm riding with Trump. We can't ignore the culture. We can't ignore white identity politics.
I don't know what he means by they got everything under Biden and Harris. I would like him to explain that. See, like when people say stuff like that, to me it's just bloviating, right? He didn't explain. Did union membership go up? I didn't hear anything about a whole bunch of new unions. In fact, I've heard about union busting. I even heard about them union busting. It's odd. And did minimum wage go up? Did anybody even discuss minimum wage? No. So they just, maybe Joe Biden did something that he's not telling us, and he should tell us, because I don't know that Joe Biden did a lot for workers, and if he did, it'd be nice to know. But what I do know is Joe Biden says he doesn't care about us. So, I mean, why would he even do anything for workers if he really doesn't care about us?
We can't ignore all these things that are happening. So the
What
question now becomes, again, are you going to have Democrats who
So that's why when I say something, I try to give at least one or two examples of the things that I say, right? Like, if I say Joe Biden doesn't like people, then I'll go give you a couple clips about him saying he doesn't care about us or whatever. Or if I say, I don't know, Trump went on a lot of vacations or something, then you go show him on a lot of golf trips or whatever. Or you say, or you at least say, oh, he was at Mar-a-Lago this much or whatever, right? Don't just say they did something and don't say what it was.
Stan, you're in a brawl. You're not in a boxing match where there are rules. They're grabbing 2x4s. They're grabbing chains, wrap around your neck.
So as he's saying this, I would like anybody watching this to think of it as the Democrats and Republicans are doing this against us, the people. And we need to see them as they are. And we need to fight back. We don't need to fight back with, it's Luigi Mangione picked a way, right? Or we can run for office. I don't condone hurting nobody. Again, I don't even like guns. I don't know how to shoot a gun. I guess you pulled the trigger. But I don't know how to take it apart. I don't know how to load it. I don't know how to do anything with a gun. I don't know. But I'm more political, right? So, there's a couple ways to handle things. And what is it? Violence, what did Martin Luther King say? Violence is the voice of the unheard or the left alone or something like that. If you don't listen to the people, eventually they gotta rise up, right? But if they're not gonna listen to us, let's make them. Let's just the Green Party will listen to the people. Join the Green Party. Let's fill it out. All 50 states, fill out every ballot and tell people, hey, now you have an option, and put it out there and say, hey, we filled out every state, every ballot, 90%, 80%, or hopefully we can get to 100%. I don't know if they even do that, but even the Democrats don't do that because there's always open seats here and there somewhere, right? So not every ballot is 100% full of candidates, but let's try that, right? If people really want to say, if we want to fight these people that are brass knuckling and batting us and fighting dirty, these Democrats who say they don't care about us and will put us in jail with the stroke of their pen, and Donald Trump, who he says it's obvious. Republicans, yeah, they're pretty obvious about it, right? So it's not them. It's both of them. But if somebody's gonna fight, it needs to be us. It's not the Democrats aren't fighting for us.
This is what that's what's going on, and I'm sitting there like, y'all don't see.
That's how I feel about these people.
Okay.
Look, Tim and I from the Republican side, and Tim was no longer Republican. He's kind of in that space where
I left to right,
that no man's land,
but it still holds those sort of values, those traditional Republican values that everybody talks to. From that side, we kind of look at it, and we're sitting there, and I know we both had these conversations with people on both the Harris and the Biden campaigns, such as they were at relevant times. And going to your point, Roland, what the hell are you doing? Why do Democrats in the face of all of this, and just this week with Hakeem Jeffries still level up a strategy that starts with.
All right, well, that's enough of that. If you guys want to watch it, obviously the clip will be in the comments, not the comments, but the description. And just to show how different even they say they are.
Say that tomorrow. Off the top, you mentioned the Carter funeral today. What were you talking to Barack Obama about?
He did look very friendly, I must say.
I thought you guys hated him.
My ninja.
I didn't realize it, how friendly it looked. I saw it on your wonderful pet work just a little while ago before I came in, and I said, boy, they look like two people that like each other. And we probably do.
We probably do.
Different philosophies, right? But we probably do. I don't know, we just got along. But I got along with just about everybody on that. We met backstage.
Just about everybody. All the Democrats, all the Republicans.
And I thought it was a beautiful service, but we all got along very well, which is good.
In California.
Just to show what they're talking about. I think this is ET, Entertainment Tonight or whatever.
Donald Trump and Barack Obama seemingly having a friendly chat at Jimmy Carter's funeral.
In the first term, everybody was fighting me. In this term, everybody wants to be my friend. I don't know. My personality changed or something.
The former president seen giggling over the president-elect's words as the pair, along with all three of the other living U.S. presidents, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Joe Biden, came together to honor Carter's memory.
Big Jimmy.
It's unclear exactly what the commander-in-chiefs were discussing during the memorial, but according to a lip reader via the New York Post, the convo's clearly about something important.
What? About something funny, at least.
Trump allegedly saying, "I've pulled out of that. It's the conditions. Can you imagine that?" Adding, "and after, I will."
The movement like nobody's ever seen before.
The lip reader suggesting the exchange between the pair continue, with
Reading
Trump
Melania's
saying,
lips over
"Call
there."
me at the foyer after, yup," meaning the entrance to the National Cathedral. Trump later seemingly telling Obama, "We have to find a quiet place sometime. This is a matter of importance, and we need to do this outside so that we can deal with it, certainly today." While we're still not so sure what the serious business is really about, we do know Obama found it amusing.
This one's pretty famous. You got Michelle Obama here, hugging up on George Bush, his nice little lean in. She rubs his shoulders here after a second. She's real comfortable with them right there. They're cool peeps. These Democrats, these Republicans and Democrats, they work together. They know what they're doing. They're not on opposite teams.
I don't know that.
And I'm just going to finish with Obama here.
Americans who believe that. The truth of the matter is that my policies are so mainstream that, you know, if I had said the same policies that I had back in the 1980s, I'd be considered a moderate Republican.
So mainstream.
You know, what I believe
moderate
in
Republican.
Let's
see what he believes in.
That's fair.
Fair tax system.
I don't think government can solve every problem. I think that we should
Small
make
government.
sure that we're helping young people go to school. We should.
I don't think Republicans
make
say
sure
that.
Our government is building good roads and bridges, and hospitals and airports.
Republicans don't say that.
So that you know, we have a good infrastructure. I do believe that
Republicans were against the infrastructure.
It makes sense that everybody in America, as rich as this country is, shouldn't go bankrupt because they get sick.
Ooh, he passed the health care bill that fined people who couldn't afford health care.
So the things I believe in are things that I think most of your viewers believe in.
That's pretty crazy. So yeah, Democrats, Republicans, huge difference or not. If you'll know a little bit better about these things if you look across the spectrum.